Okay, I am so sorry. I'm trying to do something super jazzy wazzy and it is not working. How y'all doing today? Can you all hear me? Oh no, you can't hear me. Okay, I was trying to do something super jazzy. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me at all now? Please give me. Okay, we you all hear me. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna have to. Am I echoing? Can y'all let me know if I'm echoing? Sebastian, don't start with me today. Do not start with me today. Let me do me. Okay. How about you just let everybody know we talking about it? I might not want to read from the AP. I might want to do something else. You going don't play with me. I'm not in the mood today. People just clowning. And I gotta figure out what kind of overhead lighting. All right. I'm gonna put this back up. Except I'm gonna do it this way. The way that I know damn works. That's gonna share the sound. We're gonna hear. Okay, here we're gonna. I want y'all to listen to this. Give me just. You said you wasn't starting. Listen, it's been a day. Damn it, it's been a damn day. Tell everybody we here. We in here. We in these here parts. There's some jazzy stuff I'll be able to do. Some not. Let me play this though, because y'all need to hear some of this and give me just a second to change my lighting around and we're going to be just fine.
Have described this operation as taking place in three phases. The first phase, all over the next several hours. The first phase with drones, with a massive launch of drones from Iran. Second phase with drones being launched from Iraq and Syria, also toward Israel. And the third phase, a ballistic missile phase. We have gotten a confirmation from the Israeli military that some missiles have been fired toward Israel. No exact confirmation of the type. But will they be launched at Jerusalem? Are they being launched at populated centers? Clearly, the air raid systems here have detected a threat. The sirens went off, and now we'll see if it continues. But for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, we had a very intense scene with the defense systems trying to protect the skies over this ancient and holy city.
And we have more reporting from Courtney Kuby I wanted to share with you, Richard, which is that the U.S. military intends to shoot down these drones and missiles, whatever they can, when they come into range of any U.S. assets in Iraq, Syria, and at sea. The U.S. has, as you know, beefed up its air defenses in recent months since the attack on Tower 22. They have repositioned assets in the region to be ready for this Iranian attack. You know, the CENTCOM commander has been there in Israel and in the region as well, coordinating. And they've already shot down some Iranian drones tonight, according to U.S. officials. We're trying to get more details. So we don't know what you were seeing and what you shared with us, but this could be part of it.
No, what I believe what we were seeing here was part of the Israeli air defense systems, but a different kind of defense system. Maybe it was coordinated with the United States. Now, for the last 6 months, almost everything has been coordinated. But these are not the items, the drones coming from Iran, because you could just tell in the direction. If we turn around, you can see coming. That's the opposite direction. That's heading toward Tehran. So just to sort of orient us ourselves on a map here, behind the old city is Jordan, and Iran is in that direction. Right. So if we're seeing some of these rockets coming from, and the West Bank. So behind the old city, you drop down into the Jordan Valley, you go throughout the West Bank, you go across the Jordan River to the Dead Sea into Jordan. Jordan also says that it is using its air defenses. Jordan is also a very close U.S. ally to shoot down drones flying over its territory or Iranian missiles going through its airspace. Jordan is one of the several countries
Y'all come on back. I see y'all leaving me. Come on back now. Come on back. How y'all doing? How's y'all doing? Okay, we're gonna get on started. We're gonna get this started here. Okay, guys. So I apologize for there was a couple delays I had, things I needed to get a hold of. So y'all come on back. Listen, um, she's and Mary and Joseph. All right, let's talk about what the situation is right now. The situation, as I've been monitoring it since sometime this afternoon, is that yes, as we all know already, Iran has fired a lot, a lot of drone missiles over into Israel. I'm going to say some things tonight that might shock you. It may upset you for a moment, but in fact, let me tell the peoples that we live. Let me go. Let me go out here and tell the peoples that we live over on the Twitters. I don't intend for it to necessarily shock, awe, dismay, whatever. Okay, I don't want that to happen. But this is what I do want us to have is a different perspective. Um, let's see live now. I need to figure out how to go live on X at the same time. Ooh, okay. Um, I want us to begin to have a bit of a different perspective if we came up in specifically in Christianity. Now, I know it probably feels like to some of my good Christian friends and potentially the people that, have known me from those days or whatever the case may be, that the things I'm about to say today and the things that we're going to be talking about today may feel like I'm being anti-Christian. I am not. I am neither being anti-Christian nor am I being anti-Semitic. I just want this to put out there. I just want to talk about the things of the things, and and we need to look at this from a different perspective, because if we don't start looking at this at a different perspective, we're going to help contribute to some things I don't believe we should be helping to contribute to. So I'm gonna say this off rip. I don't feel like we got any business as the United States of America being over there supplying supplying uh, supplying armaments, supplying ammunition, supplying air defense, supplying any of that. I understand that something happened on October 7th, that Hamas uh, did a frightful attack. I get that. I get it. I also understand that and we're going to get to today, trust me, just follow me. I also understand that this is not rocket science. I understand as well that if supposedly, reportedly, Mossad is the elite of the elite as far as intelligence agencies go, do we not think then, if you are the elite of the elite, if you're the best of the best, why couldn't you figure out who that was that did that and then retaliate against that particular sect? You see, historically, as long as I'll be 56 years old in a few months, historically, what the narrative has been is, especially in Christendom, I don't know about anywhere, well, I do know, But especially in Christendom, what the narrative is this. You got to support Israel no matter what, good, bad, or indifferent. They're always the good guys. The Palestinians are always the bad guys. The Palestinians came in and took the Israeli land, the Jewish land, and they didn't belong there. And whooped the bad womb. And, this is what needs to happen in order for biblical prophecy to come to pass. Certain things needed to happen. One of which was Israel becoming a state, an actual nation state. In other words, inhabiting what people at that moment in time believed was their land again. I'm going to start proposing this tonight, but we're going to really head in. We're going to try to focus in on Iran and such. We're going to have to talk about this. We're going to have to talk about it, because that ain't always the case. And what a lot of people don't know is that the Palestinians and the actual people, Israelis that actually belong to that land, the actual Israelis that belong to that land were living in harmony before the West decided to stick its nose into business it didn't have no business in. Western, that aka being European and American folk. Yes, Mr. Cook. The Ashkenazi, these are the people that are inhabiting primarily. Okay, these are the people primarily that are inhabiting what we know right now as the current status of Israel. These ain't the same peeps. These ain't the originals. These are not the originals. We're going to talk about that another time. I'm just going to drop that. I want you all, this is your homework. Ashkenazi. Look up the history of the Ashkenazi Jews. Now let's talk about, I'm not trying to do all this with y'all today. I am, but I'm not. Listen. The state of being now, in the state of this now, there's been this conflict that's going on. I will tell you that I now listen. I'm supporting Miss Candace Owens, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because that sister came straight out. Now I don't agree with everything that girl say. That gal, sometimes I really ain't got nothing for her. But when she came out and said what's going on over there is genocide, she was right. When she came out and said what's going on over there ain't right, and we ain't got no business being over there, she was right. And she got fired for it. So in this case, I'm gonna stand behind my sister on this one. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm listen, sometime maybe sis, let me tell you something. Complete aside. You be remembering where you're from. And the minute you remember where you came from and who you really are, that's when you get kicked out of them other places. But Kirk, you know you telling it. You know you telling it. You know you telling it. And so did Mr. Tucker Carlson. So let's get it. Let's go. Okay, here we go. And I hope, honestly, I do hope that Miss Candace, because she was planning a trip over there to investigate like what was all going on, and to really expose what was happening in the Gaza Strip. I'm hoping that she's not actually over there. Guys, I'm going to tell you guys this, right? You guys know, normally I don't do this. But I am going to put down here the Cash App. Oh, let me see. Let me stop this one here. Hold on. Let me stop this here. Let me make this one. Let me hide this and let me make this a scroll. Um, I have a sneaky suspicion that because of the content tonight, and I'm here for a while, so if we need to have the conversation, I'm here. I'm going to open up the panel. We're going to have the conversations. So I have a sneaky suspicion this is probably going to get demonetized. So normally I don't even ask y'all for nothing, but I will ask y'all to support the channel. My Cash App is there at $ Inspired Heart 18. My PayPal Inspired Heart 18. My Venmo is Lisa Brewer BREWER -26. So I'm just gonna ask y'all if y'all could, support tonight. Let people know that we're having an open and honest conversation about this situation and the realities thereof. And we are going to go through biblical text. We are going to go through the astrology. We are going to dive deep. Now, I'm just going to catch y'all up in case y'all been out of pocket. Hey, Jace. Hello. Let me say hello to the people. I was really rude. Let me speak to the peoples. Hello, Mr. Sebastian. Okay, yep, you guys were telling me that earlier. Hey, SC Pisces Moon. Hello, just be real. Hi, sweetie. Hello, Debbie. How are you? Hey, Tasha. Hi, lovey. Hello. And Kirk, yes. Hello. Let's go. I thought I saw Jeanette in here. OG Tan baby. Hey, sweetheart, how are you? Hey, Jen, how you doing, sweetie? Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to see you guys. Hello, LRGA. Welcome. Welcome. NPE, welcome. Welcome. Sebastian said, you told her not to go. She got 3 kids and a husband. I agree with you, baby. I agree with you. Tucker got his own job, baby. He done created his own thing, child. And I'm with him. Hey, Bougie Barbie, how you doing? All right, so now I've caught up. As people are coming in, I will speak. Hang on, guys. I gotta move my chair so I'm in the right space. Whew. Okay, here we go. So what had happened? Let me find out. When did Israel strike the Iranian embassy? Here, let's read this. I don't want a Wikipedia. Well, I guess we'll have to go with Wikipedia. Israel struck the Iranian embassy not in Iran, but in Syria, in Damascus. On April 1st, the Iranian consulate annex building adjacent to the Iranian embassy in Damascus was destroyed by an Israeli airstrike. Now, why did they do that? They said they did it because there was a high-ranking or the highest-ranking Iranian general in the consulate he was visiting, or he was there in the consulate on that day. And rather than strike directly into Iran, since they could locate him, they felt it was their right to do an airstrike on an embassy in another country. Can y'all I want y'all to really comprehend this for just 1 second. These people felt they had the right to strike another country's embassy in a third country, in the capital of that country. What? It's interesting because now that I do not look at this strictly through fundamentalist Christian glasses, I see the mass hypocrisy. I see the bullshit of this all. How dare you feel that you have this right given by your God, because that ain't my God. That ain't my God. We're gonna have to start talking about the Anunnaki. We're gonna start talking about Enkiel and Enlil. We're gonna have to start talking about all that, because let me tell you something. The more I study the Anunnaki, the more I study the ancient Atlanteans, the more I study other text, the more I begin to recognize I am not sure whether or not this I'm not sure what God it is that is being worshiped. Because a God of love, a God of mercy, a God that is supposed to be a loving and giving and compassionate Father and creator of all is not, is not under any circumstances, is not the same type of being that vibrates at the same set point resonance that would literally give one group of people the right to act a complete ass all around the world. Or maybe two, excuse me. You might get two. That ain't the same one. That ain't what I understood, when I studied metaphysics and studied frequencies and studied vibrations and studied energy and stuff. That's not what love does when you're vibrating at a frequency of love. That just don't work for me. It don't work for me. Zionism is not Judaism. I will grant you that, but this is what I'm also going to tell you. Also, the Crusades and all of that stuff ain't the same as what technically Christianity should have been. Christina, hello, how you doing? What do we got here? Oh, can we give Elon a pat on the back? He monetized. Yes, he did a very good job. I'm very proud of him. Hey, Miss Anna, how you doing, sweetheart? Hey, Deshaun. No, it don't make no sense. Damascus is populated. Yes, there is a Black content creator on YouTube who went there. Yes, absolutely. So this is the point. Like, that's a major city. So you felt you had the right to do a drone strike on an Iranian consulate to get rid of a general. What? Oh, that's right. Because you felt like the Iranians were giving the Palestinians or Hamas weapons to protect itself. Oh, that's right. So we can give you, but you can't give, but they can't get it from nobody else. I can't do it. Hey, Coach Leslie, mass hypocrisy. Absolutely. They are everybody. Yes, we're going to talk about this. You just learned about that through Billy Carson. I've been watching a lot of stuff by him. Okay, sweetheart. Okay, here we go. Yes, Miss Anna. They manipulate the word God to their own meaning. It's not the same God that we worship. Yes, but I will also say I'm not worshiping any longer. It's a whole different concept. Oh, wow. Okay, here we go. So that happened on April 1st. So from April 1st all the way here to April 13th, we've heard the rumblings. We've known that this was a potential to happen. We've known that this was about to happen. Iran has been saying, "Hey, listen, y'all, we not effing around. You gonna F around and find out." See, and they said there was one I was watching. I think I was watching Al Jazeera in English, and I was watching NBC, and we'll put MSNBC, and I've watched Fox. So I have watched like 3 different, and I watched all 3 because I wanted to get the Christian point of view, which Fox is not as Christian leaning as before, but that's beside the point. It's the most out of the ones I can find right now, other than going to CBN, which I can't do that. And then MSNBC is the liberal, but interestingly enough, the liberals are, the liberal establishment. So this is what tells me this is not even necessarily about religion and religious beliefs. It is, but it's manipulating religious beliefs for purposes of power and oppression. Because there's absolutely no way on God's green earth that the progressives and the left should be agreeing with the Christian folks about this Israel thing. Now, this ain't clown world. Can we be real about that for a second? What are you talking about? This don't make no earthly sense. Unless it's not about that, like that the religion is being used as an oppressive, brainwashing, manipulation tool so that the global or overseers that they can continue to manipulate and control. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because that's the only time the overseers are going to agree, is when it's in their best interest. Why? Because we in America still have, right, the industrial weapon complex or whatever they call it. We make money, like people make money off of war. If you can look back throughout all history, I don't care which mother trucking war it was, when economies, especially when the world economy, when countries all over the world were going in a bad direction, when the economies were failing of the powerhouses, what happens? Wars kick off. Military industrial complex, that's what it's called. Wars kick off. All of a sudden, can't nobody get along, and then all of a sudden, everybody killing neighbor. And all of a sudden, plus, when you want to reduce population, what do? Create a war. Only this time, y'all, this could be world ending. You hear what I'm saying? Right. Multiple states, multiple streams in our lifetimes. Yes. Love does no harm. Absolutely. Yeah, guys, let everybody know we're going to have a conversation over here. Okay. I don't know what that means. I didn't know you left New Jersey. Okay. Because they felt it right. Absolutely. That's crazy to me. The news networks are being careful how they are being careful now, Tasha. They were not. Like, until they realize that the vast number, like the public ain't behind this. This is a new day. This is actually what I actually love about the time period we're living in. As tenuous, as dangerous, as ugly as it can be, people are waking up in droves. I would have never, ever thought I would see a day when I have to say the majority of people, majority of Americans are willing to openly say, or at least a good chunk, are willing to openly say, this ain't right. We shouldn't be over there. We shouldn't be spending our money over there. We shouldn't be doing anything over there. I'm not supportive of that. We're not supporting genocide. We do not think Israel is in the right. That's bullshit. I never thought I would see that day, but that day has now came. It is, which I'm so happy for. Revelation speaks of two beast government. Yes, thank you, Kirk. I can't believe I forgot that one. All the Bibles were slave Bibles anyway. They really were. Thank you, military industrial complex. Yep. I was told that World War III will start. Okay, let's talk about what World War III might be, and we're going to go get into that right now. I don't know how I feel about this. I still think that there's a way for us to. Yep, they wanted a lot of military funding. They sure did. Well, Russia already was. Where I'm not sure about all that, Anna, is this. I kind of am I am wondering if what we'll actually see, like literally before our eyes, is perhaps that level of separation or destruction in the third dimensional world, but somehow we, as higher dimensional beings, are going to be um, shielded from it. And I don't have a fullness of that yet. So let's do this, gang. We are going to get into some of the Bible, okay? We're going to get into the Bible. Now, this prophecy, let me tell you something. Prophecy was my thing when I was in the church. Of course, I walked in the office of the prophetess. However, I also um, was a very big time student of everything prophetic, and not just end times, things leading up to the end times, and so on and so forth. So much so, gang, I have to just show you. I literally went to my bookcase. I have to show you guys sometimes. I don't even know how many Bibles, but I don't know how many of you Bible scholars remember the Dakes annotated reference Bible. I had to go get my Dakes. Listen, I could take this bad boy. We could be doing, like, I need to just take the Bible and do my exercises, because baby, when I tell you this here Bible is heavy, baby. This here Bible is heavy, child. And interestingly enough, in it, I think that this may have been, did I buy this Dakes? I don't remember if I bought this particular one. I don't remember now. But for whatever reason, in this Bible, I actually had my grandma Betty's, my father's mother, her obituaries in this Bible. So I don't remember why I would have taken this Bible to her funeral, but I did. And then here's grandma and grandma Betty in her later years. I know we ain't talking about my grandmother, but y'all gonna be all right. And then this was me and my brothers. This was at my father's funeral. This was at my father's funeral, actually. It's my brothers and I. Okay. Not that y'all needed to see all that, but you know what? Sometimes I do like to share little bits and pieces of my life with y'all. So thank you for indulging me. Okay. I'm praying for destruction not to take. Well, I think unfortunately we've been too involved in stuff. Our hands are dirty. Americans have been instigating World War III my whole life. Yeah, baby. Against its own population, everywhere else. You reading the Bible for the 10th time? Yes. Thanks, guys, for liking, sharing. Let everybody know we're here. We got 27. We had up to about 30. Let's get some more people in here. Oh, Anna. Yay. Thank you, honey. I love you too, sweetheart. Wow. Almost 3 years. You guys, we're gonna have a members only live probably tomorrow. There's some things I want to say. I need to put it behind a paywall. Okay. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Okay. This is Daniel chapter 7. We're going to read it from the New International Version, and then we're going to read it from the King James Version as well. Let me put this down here so I can see. Daniel, now you guys remember Daniel was a prophet, a dreamer. Daniel and the lion's den. Y'all remember the stories. Daniel was a young man, a young boy, well, teenager, a little bit older than that, and he could interpret dreams. One of the few things I have heard people say recently that I'm okay with, but whatever. Um, I do believe if you are leaning in the prophetic, or if you are a a prophet or prophetess, if you're a seer, you really do need to get your dream interpretation game up. And you really do need to it's okay to dream. It's okay to dream, okay? It's okay to dream. So feel free to do so. All right? I'm just looking, I want to be sure in case anyone. All right, guys. I'm back. I swear. I'm back. Okay. All right. Here we go. And it starts off like this. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon. Now remember, at this point, the Israelites were captives of Babylon. They were in captivity. Daniel had a dream and visions passed through his mind as he was lying in bed. He wrote down the substance of his dream. And Daniel said, in my vision at night, I looked, and there before me were the four winds of heaven, churning up the great sea. Four great beasts, each different from the others, came up out of the sea. The first was like a lion. Now the lion, well, okay, we're gonna go forward. The first was like a lion. And it had wings of an eagle. I watched until its wings were torn off, and it was lifted from the ground, so that it stood on 2 feet like a human being. I watched until its wings were torn off and it was lifted from the ground so that it stood on 2 feet like a human being, and the mind of a human was given to it. And there before me was a second beast, which looked like a bear. Okay, we're going to go here first. In the old days, we would say, well, in past times, we would say the first was like a lion and it had wings of an eagle. And I watched until its don't do that. And its wings were torn off and it was lifted from the ground so that it stood on 2 feet like a human being. And the mind of a human was given to it. Now, back in the day, we would have interpreted this as saying, well, Daniel was dreaming of, which he probably was at the time, of Babylon. And they were saying that this was representative of Babylon, right? Dake says the theory that Babylon is not symbolized by the lion because Daniel saw the four beasts rise out of the sea, showing they were all future kingdoms after his day. Now, I'm going to ask you all, I feel like, is there not a European nation that has a lion? Does England have a lion as its symbol? I don't know. I'm not trying to poke fun. I'm not trying to pick a fight. I'm just asking. The image of Daniel 2 was also seen at the time after Babylon had already risen, yet Daniel said to Nebuchadnezzar, thou art this head of gold, and after thee shall arise another kingdom. If Babylon could be symbolized by a head of gold, after it had already risen, then the same kingdom could be symbolized after a lion. The king of Babylon is compared to a lion. The eagle's wings identify Babylon, for the kingdom is compared to an eagle, and that's going to be in Jeremiah 48:40, Ezekiel 17, and Habakkuk 1:6-8. And the wings denote the swiftness. However, as I look at it now, if I'm going to relate this to things that are going on now, and I need somebody to tell me what European, can you drop it in the chat? What European nation is symbolized by a lion? I just honestly feel, or what nation, it could be a nation that's symbolized by a lion, or it could be a nation with a lion on its flag. If I remember correctly, I do believe England, Belgium, and the Netherlands. Thank you. See, I thought I'm like literally seeing England. Yes, 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 yes. So, and because this then says, now I want y'all to really, prophecy is all about interpretation. This lion had the wings of an eagle. We, as the United States, are represented by an eagle. Its wings were torn off. It was lifted from the ground so that it stood on 2 feet like a human being, and the mind of a human was given to it. This says to me, it's as if the lion became something. Lion with the wings had the wings plucked and became something else. And the mind of a human, in other words, a new collective was born out of this lion. Yeah, leave Trump alone. I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent, but all I'm gonna say is this: we didn't have no wars when Trump was in. There was not. He is the only president in recent history to not have entered into a war, and nothing major kicked off underneath his watch. Royal emblems to the bravery, strength, and valor. First recorded as the gift of the blue shield. Decorated small golden lions. Joffrey Plantagenet and by Plantagenet as he married King Henry's daughter Matilda. And okay, got it. He does use it, but he's of English descent too. Red, yellow background symbol of Scotland. Okay, 3 lions are the symbol for England. Thank you very much. There was no wars. Y'all can say what y'all wanna. We ain't had no wars. Anyway, so I'm just wondering, is he seeing the U.S. in this? Is he seeing the U.S. in this? Okay, here we go. And there before me now, this is Persia. Everybody does admit that this right here is Persia. Can we stop? And there before me was a second beast which looked like a bear. It was raised up on one of its sides, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. It was told, "Get up and eat your fill of flesh." After that, I looked, and before me was another beast. It looked like a leopard, and on its back was 4 wings, those of a bird. This beast had 4 heads, and it was given authority to rule. This beast had 4 heads, and this is different from the 10-headed beast in Revelation. And it was given authority to rule. I'm not sure. We can look at that. And after that, in my vision at night, I looked, and there was a 4th beast, terrifying and frightening and very powerful. It had large iron teeth, and it crushed and devoured its victims, trampled underfoot whatever was left. It was different from the former beasts, and it had 10 horns. So this, to me, is representative of the beast, right? That would have been in Revelation. Same beast. While I was thinking about the horns, there before me was another horn, a little one, which came up among them, and 3 of the first horns were uprooted before it. This horn had eyes like of a human being, and a mouth that spoke boastfully. Thrones were set in place. The Ancient of Days took his seat. His clothing was white as snow. The hair of his head was white like wool. His throne was flaming with fire, and its wheels were all ablaze. So that means that, to me, that's a chariot. Anyway, I'm going to go back up here for a second. This here, a lot of people have said that this would have been the European Union with 10 countries. I am not entirely sure. There's sometimes now that I firmly believe that there are at least 2 tribes of Judah that are not represented in the current Israel. I'm going a little deep now, guys, and this is just for y'all to think about. We'll get back to current times in a moment. But that there's 2 two of the houses, two of the tribes that are not represented, one of which I firmly believe is still in Ethiopia, one of which may be right here. One of which is in Ethiopia, one of which is here. And those would be the two priesthood tribes. That was not an insurrection. You might unsubscribe, but if you look at the tapes, if you were watching when it was happening, that was not what that was. What happened on our streets for an entire summer plus, with violence, unaliving, rioting, yeah, that. What happened there on that day? In actuality, the same thing happened in 2016. Very similar. And if you watch the tapes and you see what happened, those people were let in. That's my opinion after viewing it. They were let in. That was not what that was. Because trust me, if those 2A believers really wanted to carry that out, it would have been carried out. I'm gonna stand 10 toes on that one. I'm not. We have got to stop letting media and others tell us it's raining when they're pissing on our leg. What does that have to do with insurrection? Nothing. That has nothing to do with the Capitol. Like them walking to the Capitol to protest what they felt was about to be an injustice is no different than the left, what the left has done for decades, years. There's not been not one election that hasn't been contested in my lifetime. I just absolutely refuse to allow them to sell me something when my eyes were watching this whole thing happen. Yeah, it was not those people. And in fact, what you're about to see, this is completely off topic, but what you're about to see, I just read this just the other day, is you're about to see federal judges, if not the Supreme Court, reversing all of those people and setting those people free because it's a bunch of BS. That was days before when he went, and he actually went there because a few days prior to that, Antifa had done damage to that very church. So why are we not talking about them? Like we cannot. You guys, you've got to be open and recognize that just about everything you've ever seen in your entire life, definitely on television, because it tells lies to your vision, is like been fake. It's a complete matrix, like BS. Hey, sweetheart, how you doing, Rogue Nerd? All right, let's get back to this. All right. So this is where in Daniel, you're going to see a lot of people discussing, here's the second beast, it's raising up. This is where we're talking about Persia, which is Iran. Modern day Iran is old day Persia. So let me go to, now this is where the real stuff really is though, guys. Where we're Ezekiel, IEL, 38. Let's go to Ezekiel 38 and 39 because we're going to really dig deep into this. We're going to really dig deep into this. Okay. How many of you guys, can you put a 1 in the chat if you've ever heard about the prophecies in Ezekiel 38 and 39? Can you put a 1 in the chat if you've ever heard of them? You put a 2 in the chat if you've never heard of the prophecies or never really studied the prophecies in Ezekiel 38 and 39. Oh, good. I've got some folks that have studied them. Oh my gosh, this is going to be fun. Hey, Natasha, how you doing, darling? You went to they talked about this in Catholic school, child. Wear Antifa now, child. I don't know. I don't know where they at. Every once in a while, we see them pop up again. Okay, we got some 1s, we got some 2s. Okay, here we go, gang. So let me explain a little bit about Ezekiel 38 and 39. All the stuff, let me just go a little bit into prophecy a little bit. Let me go back over here. So we're going to talk a little bit about prophecy, Bible prophecy from someone that studied it for decades and decades and decades. Bible prophecy. Most people, when they think about biblical prophecy, they always are referring to Revelation. We end up going through and, we talk about Revelation and all those like Left Behind movies where the books were written, the movies was made. Wasn't there like 7 or 8 books, Left Behind books? There was a gang load of them. And anytime usually people talk about end days and end times, they always are, even when the movies are made, right? It's all about the book of Revelation. But there is so much more to biblical prophecy than the book of Revelation. That actually is probably my cats are in there tearing up stuff. I hear them knocking ish down. Oh, I'll go check it out later. That is actually the end of it all. And actually, if you do not study the prophecy, the prophetic utterances or the visions of the Old Testament or the Tanakh, if you don't study these, you'll have no concept of what the heck they're talking about in Revelation because it's built up. That's just like if you jump in and study Ragnarok, but you ain't got no idea about nothing else about the Norse gods, it doesn't make right. You'll misinterpret it. There's so much in prior books that lead up to that it's not even funny. Now, I spent years studying Ezekiel 38 and 39. Years. Because these 2 chapters have a rich depth to them that you can study and study and study and study and still it still will unravel. It'll still unleash. It'll unfold in front of you. Revelations is the ending and not the beginning of prophecy. Absolutely. And it's actually not only the ending, but it's the telling of the reset for the next version, for the next go around of the next piece of the next iteration of the experiment. Here we go. All right. Let's start with Ezekiel 38. Now, I'm going to tell you who's who and what's what, as far as I can remember. Okay, the word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, set your face against Gog in the land of Magog. Most people, most scholars, and I will let y'all tell me if this is the case with those of you that studied it. Most scholars call Magog Russia. Okay, USSR, that area of the land, and Gog the leader. So Gog is the chief prince against Gog of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Okay. Prophesy against him. Now, what is being done? This is, follow me. What is being done right here? Ezekiel, which was who, a great prophet, right? What do us prophets do? Now, some of y'all might not gonna like this, but can I tell you what us prophets do? Prophets cast spells. Where my fan at? Prophets cast spells. Prophets are shamans. Prophets are shamans. Prophets are, in some realms, witch doctors, witches, warlocks, leaders. Prophets cast spells. Why am I saying that? What did the Lord? Now, one day we really gonna get into this because, man, I'm telling you. Anyway, the Lord said, prophesy against him. I'm gonna let that sit with y'all. I'm gonna let that sit with y'all. Okay. Anyway, because spell says nothing but words spoken to do a certain thing, right? That's a spell. Don't get your panties in a bunch. It's a spell. This to me sounds like a curse, to be honest with you. You can say prophesy against him if you want to, but I'm just gonna call a thing, like it or not, I don't care. Prophesy against him and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against you, Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn you around, put my hooks in your jaws, and bring you out with your whole army, your horses, your horsemen, fully armed, and a great horde with large and small shields, all of them brandishing their swords. I don't know how many of y'all ever have run into someone that casts spells or puts roots on people or anything like that. But they'll construct that pretty close. And if they're channeling the entity that wishes to do whatever, that's how this is going to sound. That's a bonus for y'all. Anyway, Persia, Iran, Kush, land of Kush. Is that Egypt? No, it's not. Is modern. It's been a while since I've looked at this day. Oh, it does. Yeah. The land of Kush refers to the ancient Egyptian realm of Kush, as mentioned above, which included the same territory occupied by South Sudan. So in the Sudan, okay, so the South Sudan, so Iran, the South Sudan, and foot is Libya. So basically, he's saying Gog and Magog, which most people believe is Russia. Okay, most people believe it's Russia. That Gog and Magog basically saying, I'm against you. I don't like you. I don't like you. So I'm gonna hook your jaw and I'm gonna turn you around. I'm gonna take all your peoples with you. I'm gonna take all your peeps with you. And then peoples that be riding with you, Persia, Cush, and Put. Also Gomer, modern day country. Gomer is actually Denmark. What was Germania? And also Gomer with all its troops and Tagarma. Okay, let's look up Beth Tagarma. Let me see here. Turkey. Meshach is Moscow. Tubal is Turkey. Now, some people are saying southern Russia. Most people don't say that Gomer is the southern Sudan. Beth Tagarma is Turkey. And we already have Put is Libya. And some are saying that Cush is Ethiopia, which I find extremely interesting. Why would you be against Ethiopia when that's where the uh, Levites, right, the high priests are at? Oh, this is getting deep. Okay. And the many nations with you, get ready, be prepared, you and all the hordes gathered about you, and take command of them. After many days you be called to arms. In future years you will invade a land that has recovered from war, whose people were gathered from many nations to the mountains of Israel, which had long been desolate. Hey, Brian, how are you, sweetie? Thank you. Oh, wow. Because the high priest know the truth. Y'all don't stop playing with me. I want y'all to, oh my gosh, I've never read this like this. Y'all are getting straight up. After many days, you'll be called to arms. In the future years, so this talking to this whole group of people. Let's not forget who we're talking to. We're talking to this whole group of people right here. All these peeps, all these invaders. Okay? All these invaders. Leave me alone. I don't want to log in. Get prepared, you and all the hordes gathered about you, and take command of them. So he's basically daring Gog, right? After many days, you'll be called to arms. In future years, you will invade a land that has recovered from war, whose people were gathered from many nations to the mountains of Israel, which had long been desolate. They had been brought out from the nations and all lived in safety. Can I say something to you? Why is this not saying that you gonna come up against my people that live back in their land? Why? Isn't that an odd thing? Many people have taken that verse right there and a few others to denote, there's a few others, there's some in Revelation and whatnot, to say, see, they've been gathered from all the diaspora, right? The Jewish diaspora, and they've been gathered from all four corners of the earth, and yada yada blah 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 blah. Blah. And then they're gonna go here and they're gonna be in Israel. And Israel will be a nation, and they be gathered up from many nations, but not once in here does this say that these are his people. This ain't we're gonna I this is blowing my mother mind. You and all your troops and the many nations with you will go up, advancing like a storm. You will be like a cloud covering the land. What's covering the land right now, right? It's like there's drones and everything else. This is what the sovereign Lord says. On that day, thoughts will come into your mind and you will devise an evil scheme. Now, up until this point, I'm going to tell you, this is also where we can also kind of see potentially that this is where Iran and the conflict, but even before these, there's like little conflicts that happen here, little conflicts that happen there. Persia, let me tell you something. Persia ain't been happy with them Jewish people, with them Israelites for a while. But again, this is Abrahamic conflict. This is between the sons of Abraham. This is because Abraham had Ishmael by his concubine and didn't wait for the quote unquote miracle of Sarah bearing Isaac. And then not only that, Sarah got pissed the truck off and was like, she gotta go. That hoe gotta go. Right? That's what she said. She's like, no. I done brought you a son. Sis gotta ride out. Because we're not fixing to have him have the rights. And oh girl, Ishmael's mama wasn't even asking for the same birthright. That's what gets me. Ishmael mama wasn't even, she knew she wasn't finna get the same birthright. Now this story sounds a lot like the Anunnaki story. I was just watching the first part of it last night. I'm gonna watch some more tonight. Anyway, on Astro Legends, that's the website, the YouTube channel called Astro Legends. There's a movie, it's a 2-part movie about the Anunnaki and the tablets of Ezekiel, the 10 tablets of Ezekiel. Anyway, so this is saying that after many days you'll be called to arms. In future years you will invade a land that's recovered from war. Well, that would be where they're at right now, whose people are gathered from many nations to the mountains of Israel, which had long been desolate. They have been brought out from the nations, and now all of them live in safety. That sounds like what's going on right now, don't it? You and all your troops and the many nations will go up, advancing like a storm. You'll be like a cloud covering the land. This is what the sovereign Lord is saying, God, y'all, I got to stop reading it from this. Okay. On that day, thoughts will come into your mind and you will devise an evil scheme. You will say, I will invade a land of unwalled villages. I will attack a peaceful and unsuspecting people, all of them living without walls and without gates. Why is this phrase important to you and I? Because at this time, at the writing of Ezekiel, and even in the interpretation of Ezekiel, lands, kingdoms, castles, there was walls to protect everybody from everybody else. This nation, the United States, is the only nation that's never really, I mean, I suppose you could say Canada, but Canada doesn't really play a big part in biblical prophecy. It's the only nation where all of us live without walls and gates. What has been said over time is that Russia would back all of these other countries as they invaded Israel, which we could see. Why? Because we back Israel. And I used to wonder, I don't know why I was so blinded. I used to wonder why would they do that? What we got to do? That's because we keep sticking our damn nose in other people's damn business. If we wasn't over there handing over arms sending over stuff, raiding. Can you all think about this for just a second? Between, and I ain't got nothing against Ukrainian people. Okay, so I'm just making a statement here, y'all. I'm making a statement. Don't get upset. But between the amount of military equipment we've given to the Ukraine and now missiles and equipment to Israel, our own defense is severely lacking. Our supplies, I mean, I just saw this on one of them, MSNBC or something, or CNN, just like 2-3 weeks ago. And then I seen it on Fox. What? We're running out of our own stockpiles. How stupid is that? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What do you mean? Oh, that's right. So you don't want to spend no money on defense, but you'll send all this stuff everywhere else, and you'll let God knows who cross the border and fly them in. You can't make this up. It just, to me, you are asking for you want trouble. You want trouble. And while people are praising this whole like hike in oh man, I'm not gonna get in there. Let me not go there. Let me get out of there. Let me get out. Russia has always supported Iran. As long as I knee high to a duck, child. When we prop the Shah of Iran up, go get your history, children. Go get your history, children. When we propped the Shah of Iran up, and then he turned out to be a complete dictator asshole, and the people there said, we are done with it. That's when the Ayatollah Khomeini, when he rose to power, the religious right rose to power. I shouldn't say the religious right. The religious sector, the ultra religious sector, right? I don't know if they're Shiites or not. I don't want to say what they are. They rose to power and they overthrew the Shah of Iran. Why did they overthrow the Shah of Iran? Because the Shah of Iran was torturing and was killing and was doing all sorts of horrible things to his people. Go get your history, children. Go get it. Don't come over here talking to me until you've gone and done your history lessons. Okay? Because I know of what I speak. Then, when that overthrow and that coup happened, that's when we ended up during the Carter years with the Iranian hostages at the embassy. Because our dumb behinds did not get our people out soon enough because we thought, that the three-letter agencies could control the situation. Yeah, we have a bad habit of thinking we can control somebody else's country. We have a bad habit of that. And we have a very bad, an equally bad habit of backing the wrong damn horse. Okay, children? All right. Hey, Desiree. Yep, taking our money to use it. Is it spinning at your house too? Is what spinning? Was giving that due to Carter. Absolutely. Yep. Okay, I was right. Yeah, I'm going to drop the link in a minute. I know I can't wait for it either. Okay, here we go. So this whole thing happens because we done stuck our nose in some damn business that we didn't belong. So now they invade us. Okay? Because now there are other passages, I don't know if it's 39, it might be in 39, where it basically talks about these missiles falling out the sky. Like, this is some amazing, crazy stuff, right? Which is actually happening right now. I will plunder and loot and turn my hand against the resettled ruins. I will plunder and loot, my God, today, and turn my hand against the resettled ruins and the people gathered from the nations. This is Gog and Magog saying, I'm gonna go over here. Rich in livestock and goods, living at the center of the land. Now, if that ain't here, I don't know what the hell is. Y'all can miss me. Sheba and Dedan, Sheba and Dedan. So most people believe, and the merchants of Tarshish is Saudi Arabia. Um, they kind of feel like this is the oil people, perhaps, right? And all her villages will say to you, have you come to plunder? Have you gathered your hoards to loot, to carry off silver and gold, and take away livestock and the goods, and seize much to plunder? Now, we used to say that this was the folks from Saudi Arabia and that area. But you know what? I'm gonna tell y'all something. I don't know. Because why would this, to me, sound like this the black and brown people saying, what y'all come here for? Because we would be descendants of Sheba and Dedan. That's in Egypt, right? Dendera, Temple of Dendera, right? Merchants of Tarshish and all her villages will say, have you come to plunder? Have you gathered your hoards to loot, to carry off silver and gold, to take away livestock and goods, and seize much to plunder? That sounds like us saying, what you all over here for? Listen, we ain't got no beef with y'all. That's not, now if that's not some melanated people saying, look, listen, we ain't got no beef with y'all. Your beef is not with us. I'm gonna tell you, that's the first thing I would say. Hey, yo. No, pimp. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Anyway, let me shut up. I'm being stupid now. Okay, therefore, son of man, prophesy and say to Gog, talking back to the leader of Russia, this is what the sovereign Lord says. In that day when my people Israel are living in safety, will you not take notice of it? You will come from your place in the far north, Russia, you and many nations with you, all of them riding on horses, a great horde and a mighty army. Understand when this was seen, they potentially could have seen tanks and all that kind of stuff looking like that. You will advance against my people Israel like a cloud that covers the land. In days to come, Gog, I will bring you against my land so that the nations may know me when I am proved holy through, interesting, holy is not capitalized, through you before their eyes. You are the one I spoke of in former days by my servants, the prophet of Israel. At that time, they prophesied for years that I will bring you against them. This is what will happen in that day. When Gog attacks the land of Israel, my hot anger will be aroused, declares the sovereign Lord. In my zeal and fiery wrath, I will declare at that time there should be a great earthquake in the land of Israel. The fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, the beasts of the field, and every creature that moves along the ground, and all the people on the face of the earth will tremble at my presence. The mountains will be overturned. Some people, like we do interpret mountains as governments a lot of times. We interpret mountains as governments in prophecy and biblical prophecy, and seas as a great number of people. Okay, like collective. The mountains will be overturned, the cliffs will crumble, and every wall will fall to the ground. I will summon a sword against Gog on all my mountains, declares the sovereign Lord. Every man's sword will be against his brother. Now, there are also that I have also believed that these swords were actually missiles, actually rockets. That the torrents of rain and hailstone burning sulfur on him and his troops was almost like nuclear. So this really, to me, says it almost talks about somewhat of a nuclear war. My point is this: is all the way up here, we could have solved this problem all the way back here. Do I see this coming? There have been other times where I've wondered, do I see this coming to pass, and this actually getting fulfilled? I will tell you this: it's a hell of a lot closer today than it was before. I am Muslim, was Christian. You can ask me religious questions on this situation as well. Oh, well, I bet I can. Okay, guys, let me do this because we've been on for a while, a lot longer than I anticipated. Let me put all right. There is the link. Let me go back over here. There is the link to join the conversation here, gang. There's the link to join the conversation while we are doing that. Hey, Sebastian, I knew you were going to be here like right. Oop, oop, oop. I knew you were going to be here right away, child.
Oh, yes, I was.
While we're doing that, there's one thing I do want to call you guys' attention to. Down below in the I've actually opened up my YouTube store. I know, guys, you're like, "What?" Yeah, I actually have opened up a YouTube store. And
Really?
yes, and actually the first thing I put on there was a mastermind. I just started a mastermind. And it's called the SoulFire Syndicate. And what we've done is we've taken the ability for you guys to learn how to launch your businesses and for us to help you with that, your transformational businesses. And I've put it into a mastermind, um, group call, and you get access to resources and things like that for just $197 a month. So there's a link. There is a link. The YouTube store is down there. Also, there is a Shopify store. So if you're watching me on what do you call that? Uh on Facebook, there's a link to the Shopify store, and I will be putting more stuff in that store as the days progress. All right, let's have a chit chat, shall we? What I saw a few things from you, Sebastian. You were talking about there was a little bit of a concern because you are of draft age, so I understand that that is a concern. But what's your position on this? Being of the Muslim faith, having been Christian and then converting over to the Muslim faith, I find that interesting.
Okay, I will say this. Even when I was Christian, I was more pro-Palestinian. And I'm going to give you this reason.
Hmm.
I grew up Catholic, and the Pope became very pro-Palestinian as well. They've always
Mm.
said that they had human rights. They are humans as well. And the thing is, I'm going to have to say this. A lot of the Palestinians are Christians. That is the second most common religion there after Islam. So when you have
Really?
yes, yes, Lisa, you can search it up. Search up Palestinians in the West Bank, Palestinian Christians in the West Bank and Gaza. And also, Israel has actually, when they've settled some of those Christian neighborhoods, you know what they've done? They've given them Israeli citizenship. They say you're now Israeli, you're an Arab Israeli now. They call them Arab Israelis to cleanse them of the idea of Palestinian. Yes, they call them Arab Israelis. Um,
Wow.
that's the same thing they do to black people in America, calling them African Americans, instead of just calling them Black Americans or Americans. So they do that. They do that to rid them of their identity, their actual identity. And people also forget that even Syria has a very huge Christian population. Um, and Lebanon. Lebanon is actually a Christian country. There's more Muslims now, but it's historically a Christian country.
Correct.
In their constitution, the president has to be Christian too. That's why they've been having issues right now. Yes, it's a representative democracy. So the religions are represented based off of based off of the country's ideals. The president has to be Christian. The prime minister has to be, I think, Sunni or Shiite Muslim, and the third in line has to be Sunni or Shiite, and then Druzism is also a thing there too.
Interesting.
Yes, there is many issues in this conflict, and people always want to talk about blood. Who has more blood that's related to this land? Well, the thing is, they have done Palestinian DNA tests. They have done DNA tests on Palestinians, and they have some of the highest percentages of Canaanite blood. They have some of the highest. Some of the
Which would make
highest,
sense.
which would make sense. And some people call them, oh no, they're the Arabs. They're the Arabs. They speak Arabic. They were Arabized because Islam was introduced into there. But the thing is, their blood is not it's not from the Arabian Peninsula at all. Their blood is from that region called the Levant. So technically, they're Levantines.
My God.
Um, I'm not Sunni or Shiite. I'm just Muslim. Actually, but people who consider themselves just Muslim, they technically are just Sunni. Shiites, this is what Kurz is saying is true. Shiites believe that Islam should be led by the descendants of Muhammad, while Sunnis believe that the leader of Islam should be appointed by election and consensus. That is very true. And also,
Got it.
the leaders of Islam in Sunni Islam is also, they also believe that it mostly has to do with the companions of the prophet, because the prophet had companions around him, people who would help and
Hmm.
stuff be there, not blood relatives, but they were just there, just how you guys see Jesus has
Disciples.
disciples, or apostles, rather,
Hmm.
apostles. So people are very quick to say that, oh, people, this is where it's going to get a lot. People are quick to say if you say anything against Israel, you're anti Semitic and a whole bunch of things. But Israel has a very deeply rooted history in racism, even against Jews themselves. And we're going to go there. Israel, it's a fact. They admitted in 2013, I believe, 2014, 2013. You can pull this up, Lisa. They were sterilizing Ethiopian Jews, giving the Ethiopian Jewish women contraceptives without their consent. You can search it up. Because, because they're, i.e., not the right color.
Oh my God. It literally popped up. Oh, here's the Guardian. We'll go to the Guardian.
Oh, yes.
Let's go to the Guardian, shall we? Can I do that? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Present, share screen, share. Okay, and let me make it. No, this is going to have to be like this. And then we'll just make this bigger, shall we?
And remind you, it's that shot that we all been talking about in the US for years. Look at it there.
No, stop. No. Okay, so Israel this article is more than 11 years old. Okay, I don't care. Israel's health ministry is investigating claims that Ethiopian immigrants have unknowingly, in other words, you don't put this on them, had Depo-Provera jabs for years. Ethiopian women being injected with a controversial contraceptive without their knowledge or consent. Thousands of Ethiopian women are said to be receiving shots of Depo-Provera every 3 months in Israeli clinics, which is the consistency when you're supposed to have them. The contraceptive stops menstruation and has been linked to fertility problems and osteoporosis. Oh, that's interesting. Yaakov Litzman, Israel's deputy minister of health, who had previously denied the practice, will lead the inquiry. The phenomenon was uncovered when social workers noticed the birth rate among Ethiopian immigrants having or being reduced by 50% in a decade. An Israeli documentary investigating the scandal was aired in December and prompted a public outcry. It revealed that women were started on a course of contraceptive jabs while still in transit camp. First of all, why are they in camps?
So the thing is, Jews have the right of return to Israel anywhere.
Correct.
They have the right of return. If you convert to Judaism today, you can get Israeli citizenship and everything within very soon. And Ethiopia has many Ethiopian Jews.
Well, yeah, because the significant tribe is there, right? Like that was the whole thing with Queen of Sheba, right? So
Yes.
They took the ark down there because the priesthood, that's where the priesthood is.
Right.
Some without being told they were being given birth control, and many having no idea of the side effects. When they eventually arrived in Israel, doctors continued the treatment unquestioningly, yeah. But the critical question remains unanswered as to who instigated the policy, with neither Israel nor Ethiopia willing to. I'm sure it wasn't Ethiopia. My God. They were being told one woman who believed she'd been given a flu vaccination had no idea she had been injected with Depo-Provera. Mm-mm-mm. Another was pregnant with her fifth child when she arrived in a transit camp where she would live for 7 years. Why were y'all keeping these people in camps for 7 years? The woman in her 30s told Reuben that officials had gathered together all the new mothers in the camp and told them they would all be given Depo shots as it would be too difficult for them to give birth in Israel. No, we did not want to take it. We refused, so we didn't. We said we didn't want it. She agreed to the injections only because she was told her immigration to Israel would be blocked and she would receive no further health care in the camps if she refused.
Mm.
Oh, I can't do this right now. Coach Lady said, this is some shit here. Oh my God. Wow. It does sound, except for the syphilis and the Tuskegee experiments were just that. They were experiments. So they were, it was
Trials.
different. There was trials, right? So it was different. They full well knew what this would do to these women. They full well knew. Because even 11 years ago, I'm trying to see when this was written. I don't even see a date. But okay, here we go. No. Yeah, Thursday. This is what was written February 28th in 2013. So it's not that long ago. This is just in 2013. That's not long ago. We full well knew in 2013 what Depo-Provera shots would do. That's how I lost the last child. I had a stillborn, my fourth child. I had taken the Depo shot knowingly, got pregnant on it, and then took a second one. And then by the 2 months after I took the second shot, that's how I ended up having a stillborn child. So they full well knew what this would do. And after the Depo shots, everything else was my reproductive system was never the same after those shots. Never the same. So and that was back in, how old is Alicia? Alicia's 30. So this is 30 she's almost 31. So this would have been about 31 years ago, 31, 32 years ago. So we knew by 2013, they knew. We're all connected to Mother Earth and we're hurting our own people. So how do we expect that Mother Earth will protect us when we're killing our mothers with those shots? We'll talk about those of us that are the true children that are awakened, or the true light beings, right? And what we can be doing to help Mother Earth, and what our role in this is. Because I do want to remind people, I'm still saying we do need to pray for peace. We do need to hold space for this to resolve. We do need to fight the fight for humanity. We do need to fight fear with love, shadow with light, war with peace. But we also have to know what's being done. There's no but. We also have to know what's being done, what's being said, and how religion is being used, religion and power are being used, misused, and abused in order to descend this world into potentially another catastrophic event.
Absolutely.
Because that to me, if I'm rereading, I'll be honest with you, I studied this stuff back heavy in the late 90s, early 2000s, heavy in the late 90s, early 2000s, and um, taught on it a lot. Now, from a different perspective, though, now from the perspective of coming at this from the spirituality perspective, and I'm not even going to say New Age because we're not New Age. Christianity is New Age. Muslim is New Age. No offense. Judaism is New Age. That's the new stuff. I'm going back to the old time. I'm going back to where the ancestors started. I'm going back to the Kemetic. I'm going back to the Sumerian. I'm going back to the Babylonian. I'm going back to the Incan, to the Mayan. I'm going back there where it started.
Exactly. I understand that completely.
So, from that perspective, now when I look at the biblical text, now I'm like, yo, wait a minute. This ain't right. This ain't it. This is not right. And when you can look at it from that point, and then as you study the Atlanteans and the Anunnaki, which we have been told point blank are evil, and we'll just start getting into this discussion because we have to, because the Anunnaki, if the reality is that the evil Anunnaki is really the one that is represented in the Bible as Lord God, then as in the way of Ezekiel, not all the Anunnaki were evil. Anunnakis were actually Atlanteans. Not all of them were evil, right? There's some of these stories that are true, some that are not. However, the point that I'm making is, if this was all based on something that is not, it's not what we thought it was, right? Then everything's been based on a lie. Now, I look back at this now, and now I read that and I see, wait, this sounds a whole lot like a nuclear holocaust. And I made this statement on what was reported to be Easter Sunday, which I will tell you honestly, I don't believe Easter really happened until the eclipse. I think they screwed with the calendar yet once again. That was not Easter Sunday. The eclipse was Easter. But to me, energetically, let's just say that. But I said this on Easter Sunday. How much of biblical prophecy is true prophecy, and how much is self fulfilling prophecies because we keep speaking them into existence over and over and over again? If we truly believe that we can we can manifest a different life, then why can we not manifest a different end? However, the powers that be, whatever, have groups of people spouting this off over and over and over and over again. So you're literally continually sowing and watering the seeds of destruction of this earth into the earth because you are speaking it over and over again. That might be a hot take. I don't know how y'all feel about that. Gemini, did you want to say hello to the peoples? Is that what you're coming over here for? Where are we at?
I was going
Anyway,
to say something controversial as
no,
well.
continue. Listen, that's what we here now.
Okay. I want to say this. The Black church, the Black American church, has a huge role to play in the push for the whole Christians for Israel movement, and do the white evangelicals as well. But but I feel that the black ones should be more. They deserve more blame due to the fact that we've gone through oppression. We've know the signs of oppression, but yet we've seen the Palestinian struggle, and we turn our backs on them.
Well, okay. Now that is a hot take. I'm not going to take that one on. I'm going to tell you why. Because if we were truly in touch with our religion and our spiritual belief structure and not so intertwined and entrenched in what was forced upon us, then we would have the ability to know better. I feel like the Eurocentric Christian created this, especially the fundamentalists, because even back, I'm gonna tell you something. This is really current. I'm gonna have another controversial take. I feel like this is more to do with current being 1940s, 1950s Christianity and beyond that. Because before then, Christians didn't like Jews at all.
Yup, and mind you, um, Germany and Poland and where a lot of the H thing happened, they were surrounded by many Christian countries. And you are absolutely right. Also, in Spain, the Spanish Inquisition, where they kicked out Jews, which
Absolutely.
happened centuries before the Holocaust.
Absolutely. We did not even enter America to be so pro Israel, didn't even enter into the World War II until we were bombed by Japan. We could have cared a rat's patootie. I mean, let's just be, can we just call a thing a thing? Can we be honest for a few seconds here?
Right, and FDR, remember that boat that had many Holocaust survivors that he sent back?
Hmm. So we did not care. We need to protect our children and mothers. Absolutely, we sure do. And I'm going to actually start tomorrow. I'm going to start. I'm going to take the latest Terrence Howard um, interview, and we're going to pick it piece by piece apart because everybody's talking about what he talked about as far as the actor thing and him not getting paid. That was the least significant part of the whole conversation. I am really ashamed of people not paying attention to the rest of that conversation because the rest he talked about how by us drinking out of like plastics and things like that we're actually putting things into our body that will cause men to be completely infertile within the next 10 or 15 years. So we're going to pick that apart. And women, and I don't know what it's going to do to women, but men to be infertile within the next 10 to 15 years. Mass sterilization events. Yet upset about birth rates. Not for us. They don't care about that. Anything that the government gives you for free run, absolutely. Anunnakis are deities in the pantheon. Yes. Descendants of An and Ki, god of the heavens, the god of heavens and goddess of earth. Well, there's a different story to that. Watch, and I'm not saying that's not true. That is one like tale of it. Why watch Astro. Go to the channel Astral Legends, Astral Legends, and there is actually a part one and part two story. They've got many stories, but they part one and part two of the tablets of Enkil, I think it is. Part one just goes through 1 through 5, and then 6 through 9 or whatever. Anyway, they tell a different story, and it's very intriguing. But yes, the primary fiction was decreed the fates of humanity. They should not be confused with the apocalypse. Apkalu. Okay. I want you LRGA watch that and then tell me. It's very long. It's like 4 hours, I think. But tell me what you think after you watch it. Okay. Totally agree about Easter Sunday. It felt didn't it feel off? It did not
It
feel like
did.
it was Easter.
It did. I
And
agree with you. The Sunday before the eclipse felt more, you know.
well, the eclipse itself felt like that was Easter.
Oh
Like
yeah,
had
the
that
Monday.
energy.
Yes.
That that was that energy. They can't identify. Nope, they can't. Most American black churches don't even say about child. Don't get me
Oh,
started. Don't get me started, Coach Leslie. Don't get me started. But I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna give you a hot secret about because I did a lot, worked a lot in Caucasian churches, white churches as well. They don't nobody study the Bible. Don't nobody study the Bible.
Hmm.
If you let me tell you something. You listen to a Joel Osteen quote unquote sermon. That ain't no sermon. That's
Oh
a
God.
motivational talk.
Right. Right. Right, heart. Right.
That's a motivational speech. A lot of non-denominational churches are motivational speeches. A lot of the times when they'll refer to one or two Bible verses, they'll start there. And baby, they ain't going back to that Bible no more that day.
They talk about current events. They talk
Yep.
about politics, even though
Yep.
they're not supposed to. Um, yeah, and fundraisings.
Now the black church is very bad about the fact that we let the politicians in, but they do that. All of a sudden, there doesn't need to be a separation between church and state when it comes to black folks, because that's where historically we've congregated, and historically the pastor could get you to vote any way that they wanted you to vote.
Which is still wrong because those are 501c3
I agree with you.
504 whoa, those are
501. Mm-hmm.
501c3 organizations. The church is that's what the church is.
Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be non-political, right? Separation of church and state.
Absolutely.
But that's not what that's about. Anyway, that's another stuff for another day. So okay, so now here we are. We've got I'm just gonna go over here and check and see what the latest is on the tubes here.
We've got the sterilizations.
We've got the sterilizations.
Um, I'm gonna say something. You might be scared after I say it. October 7th was a
Yeah.
tragic day. Was a tragic day. But
Hmm.
but it was a day that the Israeli government knew what was going to happen.
Mm.
It's confirmed. There are many reports. Egypt warned them. The US government, someone in the Senate came up and talked about it and everything.
Mm.
Yes, you can find this. Um, some of those areas where the people were, where the concert was, and the kibbutzes and stuff,
Hmm. Hmm.
those are occupied territories that went out of the UN referendum, the UN resolution plan.
Mm.
Um, Gaza has always been very oppressive. Even the West Bank is. It's not the government, the way Gaza has been maintained by the Israeli government.
Or
Um,
not maintained.
not maintained. No, maintain. Well, no, not maintained. Controlled is the right word.
Hmm.
Um, mind you, Palestinians don't have their own currency, so they're dealing in Israeli shekels. Um, they don't have their own banks. Their banks somehow have links to Israeli banks. They don't have even their own healthcare. They don't have aid to get into that country. Before the whole thing, it was 400 trucks a day that would be going into Gaza. After, the government was being weird and stopping aid really from going in. These have to be human rights violations.
Well, they all are, and this is the problem. But this is the issue. This is why it literally is genocide, because they're starving these people. You're not letting aid get to them. You're not letting food get to them. You're not letting anything get to them. You keep bombing and bombing and bombing and bombing and bombing. And let's just be real again. Can we be real? The UK didn't say anything about it. The US didn't say anything about it until some of our own got killed. All of a sudden, when civilians, the chefs and everything got killed, then now all of a sudden, oh, this that then all of a sudden, people want to start talking about the human rights violations.
Right.
Um,
And World Central Kitchen does a good job nationwide. No, not nationwide, worldwide,
mhm,
to ensure that there's a difference between they're humanitarians. They're not in war. They're not in politics. They
mhm,
cook food for people who are in need. They go through many things.
mhm,
My best friend, Nate, and neighbor back then was Haitian. When the
Mm.
earthquake happened in 2010, World Central Kitchen went down there and did stuff. I went to Haiti for the first time as a kid with his family as well, and he lost a relative that used to live next door with me as well. Um, I remember around I was like 8, 9 ish, I think.
Mm-hmm.
8, 7, 8, 9 ish. I don't remember. I was around those ages, and they
Mm-hmm.
all and World Central Kitchen did a lot of work. They gave food. A lot of the people were intense. Houses were bad. Everything. It was a lot. World Central Kitchen does a lot for the world, and people need, and Jose Andres, the Spanish chef, he does a
Mm-hmm.
good job, and I that those the unaliving of those aid workers
Mm-hmm.
affected me because I was like, these people were only here to do good on this planet. They were only here to give food to these children. Well, most of them are orphans. Give food to them. Give food to these families. Gaza is now, I believe these are reports. It's not in. It's habitable.
It's inhabitable now.
It's
Yes.
inhabitable now.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, this is what we have. This is what they're going to have to deal with. And I'm going to say something. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, the goal is to eradicate Hamas, eradicate Hamas, eradicate Hamas." You can't eradicate it. It's an ideology.
Right.
Instead, I think you probably fueled its membership now because you just left a whole bunch of orphans.
I think the goal literally is to eradicate Palestinians for
Yes,
them.
yes,
I mean, that to me feels like that's the goal.
including the West Bank, including the West Bank.
Including what they just don't want. If you got to drop, they don't want you. And I think Leslie, the whole payoff. Let me tell you something. What I don't think that the leadership, the world leadership, anticipated. I don't think they anticipated, which they keep underestimating us. I don't think they anticipated the world saying, Israel, you're wrong. I think that they thought that we were still just going to be like, oh, it's fine. It's okay. You know, we feel like you're still being victimized. It's totally cool. They were not expecting people to be like, no, we don't know.
Right, and social media too.
And social media, right? And that's what I mean. The world collective, the world view is very different. This is one reason why they want to. I believe personally, this is my opinion. They want to go do away with TikTok because they cannot, especially the Western governments, cannot control it.
Absolutely,
They cannot
absolutely.
control it. And um, who said it?
You can sell stuff on TikTok now too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, dude, that so many people are making. There's like TikTok millionaires. When they started TikTok shop, that just a wrap. But the point is that, and so whenever you have the world in economic turmoil, and they want to do some kind of global reset, what do? They kick off wars. They Whenever they want an economic reset, they kick off some war or some event. And to me, they tried to do it with the Ukraine. So the Ukrainians unfortunately got caught up in that. The people got caught up in the governments doing the things that they wanted to do. That didn't work. So here we are. Now let's kick it off in the Middle East.
Yes, and
So they were assuming that we would all just go along with it. Now, the unfortunate thing is, no, we're not going along with it. But clearly, our government is not trying to hear us. And for some stupid dumb reason, the current party in power thinks that this is going to be a good idea. I don't think any of us, regardless of who you voted for, who you didn't, I don't think any of us thinks that the man in office is a good wartime president.
oh
Excuse me?
no,
This
no,
is I do not want Mr. Potato Head. What?
no,
And cackling Kamala. No. No, 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 no. This ain't nothing good about this. Ain't nothing good about this. Ain't good. This is not who you want. He is not a wartime consigliere, as Michael would say in or as Sonny said in The Godfather Part One.
Amen.
This is not the person you want going to the mattresses. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. You're
So,
right.
but you have to. But they need this to fund the military, industrial complex, and they need this so that they can do a economic reset.
Right. And speaking of the military complex, I gave you a list in the private chat of the defense contractors for the military industrial complex.
Oh my. Lockheed Martin, yep, they've been around for forever. RTX, Northrop. Oh, Boeing. I
Oh,
forgot about Boeing. Build a good plane, my dears, that the doors don't fall off. General Dynamics in the UK based systems. There's quite a few Chinese companies in here. Most of them are US companies.
absolutely.
Disgusting. Disgusting. We're going to look at the chart in just a second too, guys. I haven't forgotten about the chart. Yeah. How they can do this to children. Social media shows the parties honorable. So many people making ends meet. Absolutely. The people are not just making ends meet. They are making money.
And they're reinvesting that money in other things and are continuing on.
Listen, baby, I done bought me. I don't know if y'all been on the TikToks and you done seen that little thing that you put on your chin, you put on your face, and it does this kind of like facelift and it get. Listen, I bought me one. It worked. Anyway, and I'm about to get me the stepper thing too, the little the stepper thing that you can, the little miniature stairmaster. I'm about to buy that on the TikToks too.
I
Oh,
have to uninstall and restore my TikTok all the time because I'm too addicted to that TikTok shop. I've been swiping, I've been putting my card details almost all the time, buying things, buying things, buying things.
you better use your Cash App card. That's what you better do. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's look at the I was gonna look at the chart a different way, but I've got I have Sebastian here, so we're not gonna be able to see Sebastian if I do it the other way that I was gonna do it. All right, here we go, gang. So it's gonna make it a little too difficult to see. Okay, we'll do this, and then you guys, I pinned the link to the top if anybody else wants to come up. Otherwise, because we're going on 2 hours, I still have a load of sheets over in my daughter's dryer, so I need to go get those. All right, let's see why this kicked off today, and how long I think this is gonna go. This Jupiter conjunct Uranus in Taurus, that's going to be lasting for a few days. That is on a good side for you as an individual. For the 5D collective, that's a great space and time for you to expand your career, your business, enter into business, do all these great things, have expansion in your life in ways that you never thought you would be able to do. From a low vibrational standpoint, and from these yahoos that want to take over the world, this is giving them I can take over the world vibes. This is them, let's cause some real ruckus. This is them, I think I own that land, so let me go get it. That's that energy. I have, but I want to possess more. So that's not good. I'm glad to see, Mars is skipping away from Saturn, because that's very aggressive government. And this happening in Pisces is like the delusional psychopaths, right? That think that they really can take over the world. Okay. That's that energy as well. Now that is heading towards Neptune, which is still in Pisces, and it is at 28 degrees Pisces. So it's very strong. It's getting ready to enter in, I think at the end of the year or beginning of next, into Aries, which will be a very interesting time for us all. But this is very strong. So this can either again be strong dreams and then you're really able to realize those dreams, or you can be given to strong delusion. And I'm thinking in these, a lot of these people's cases, these leaders' cases, we're seeing strong delusion. The moon in Gemini, um, that I don't feel like, okay, so that happening today, it was sextiling the North Node and Chiron. Oh no. Oh, Chiron and Mercury in retrograde. Um from Iran's point of view, it was, yeah, no. You heard us and you've been doing this mess for all this time. We're not playing around with you no more. We have a plan. We've devised the plan. And actually, they've executed their plan quite nicely. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I was seeing some reports that over 200 drones, ballistic missiles, and a few other things were showered over all of Israel. And had Israel not had our interceptors and then some of their own,
The Iron
that would have
Dome,
been a bad scene.
especially the Iron Dome,
Yeah.
which apparently was off on October 7th, just letting that know.
You gonna stop. So I think it was just them choosing a good day to execute their plan. As far as if we're gonna go astrologically, I am not supporting their plan. I'm saying from the chart, it was a day to execute the plan. This little conglomerate right here has me a little concerned. Because Mercury, as you guys know, will be in retrograde until the 25th of this month, and then it goes stationary direct before it starts going direct again, which means that it is going to be within the next day or so conjunct, and then it'll be conjunct Chiron, and then it may end up conjoining. It may. I don't know if it's going to get that far. Conjoining the North Node in Aries. Why is that so significant? Chiron, as you guys know, is the wounded healer. In a low vibrational person or a person that is not awakened, that's that, like the victim mentality. And that is the unforgiving. I can't forgive the wound. And it's still so fresh that it's still so real and I'm still got to act on it. So it could either be a victimization or it could be where you really did hurt me and I'm just not going to forgive it. You know what I'm saying? Like holding a grudge. And Mercury in retrograde kind of dancing back that way towards that is just going to make that grudge even deeper. It's going to make that wound even deeper. And you'll feel more like you have the right to do it because of that North Node influence and because Venus is in Aries as well, which it does not like being in Aries at all. Love has a very difficult time triumphing over selfishness. So there's a lot of selfishness, there's a lot of narcissism, there's a lot of psychopathy, there's a lot of, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of psychosis going on here with Neptune in the 28th degree and the final degrees of Pisces, with Venus kind of being overshadowed and almost like a jealousy, like a jealous rage, like a woman scorned ish like energy, right? Like I'm going to get revenge. And unforgiveness is in the air. I'm not sure when this is going to end up being resolved. I think we're in for. It depends. It's going to depend on a lot about how the country, our country, and others around the world really respond to this. Um, I'm not even hearing of any casualties. And Iran said, listen, we did what we did. We reigned a night of terror and we done with it now. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of like all right, I got my lick back. I'm good.
I don't think they're done
That's what they're saying. That's what Al Jazeera was saying.
because they also said that this cites I think in the human not Geneva Conventions. I think it's this whole attack is justified based off of some article. I forgot which
Correct.
one, because an embassy or a
Correct.
consulate is somehow it's a representative territory of a country.
It is. So that's why, like, if you are overseas somewhere and you make it to the U.S. embassy, that is considered U.S. soil. So that technically was an attack on Iran. It was just as if they had attacked the physical country itself. Hey, sweets. That's okay, sweetheart. I call the Iron Dome the Wakanda Shield. Don't give him that.
Please don't. And
They don't get the Wakanda. Wakanda forever.
the worst part is that now
I'm just kidding, LRGA.
the
Go ahead.
whole the whole Middle East is on watch out, especially Egypt. The Egyptian air forces are currently up in the air watching things just in case if because during the war they have bombed Egypt. Israel has
Yeah,
bombed.
Israel just will indiscriminately just be bombing. They just bleep, 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 bleep. They indiscriminately. They're like, oh yeah, you know, we got a beef with you from like 5,000 years ago, so we still gonna bomb you.
And mind you,
Get
they're
the F out of
using
here. Huh?
their missiles are guided. These are not missiles back then where you could just throw them around and stuff. And no, these are guided missiles.
Hmm.
These are guided missiles, so they know where they go.
That we gave them. Anyway,
Right.
moving right along.
This is
So
exactly
much for forgiveness, right? But this is the one thing I have to say. Now, maybe this is not fair. This is probably not fair. But if I'm just going to go through the Old Testament, I don't know how much forgiveness there was.
you better say it
That there is not a very forgiving people,
back then, right?
a very self-righteous people. And this is just what I'm seeing from what if I'm gonna believe, if I'm gonna take this as a history book, I don't see much forgiveness. I see a lot of righteously we're going to enslave these people, and then they end up getting enslaved themselves,
Amen.
and then it's just like, oh, okay, what now woe was me, blah 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 blah. And then what'll be said is because they did that because they got enslaved because they went against, they weren't living according to God, right? They weren't living according to, they weren't worshiping, and they weren't living according to God's law. They angered God. So then God basically said, whoop, okay, we're just gonna let you, like, this is the most messed up type of parent I've ever like, I've been mad at my kids, but there is no way I could ever be so angry with my children that I would literally remove whatever protection I had over them. Now, some fathers will have told me from time to time. Some of the men in my life will say, "You can't keep protecting your boy. You can't keep protect. You can't." Da, 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 da. And maybe that's a father. I don't know because I'm a mother. But even so, I don't even know many fathers that would literally just completely remove their protection and allow utter and complete destruction to occur towards their kids. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's crazy to me. What do you think about forgiving but never forgetting? I believe we can forgive people, but as a human, I have the right to never forget. I listen. I'm fine with that. I understand that. I can as a human being, I can understand not forgetting. I forgave my ex-husband of all the craziness, but there was never a moment where I was going to forget and just let you back into my life, right? Like there are boundaries, there are standards. You have to hold yourself to a better standard than that so that you don't end up in a toxic situation. I got no problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is saying you are a forgiving person and then executing retribution and revenge.
Right. And speaking of retribution and revenge, I just put in the private chat the Israeli ID system, and you will see how they do apartheid in their ID system and where you're allowed to go based off of if you're Palestinian, if you're one that lives in Jerusalem, if you're one that lives in Gaza and West Bank. You're gonna be shocked. It's probably even worse than American segregation based off of what I'm seeing.
Oh my God. You bring in the receipts tonight.
Oh, yes, I am. I'm
You
not
done brought
playing.
you done brought the receipts
I'm not
tonight.
playing tonight.
Let me see. I'm gonna have to blow this up probably. Okay. How the Israeli ID card system enforces apartheid. This is from May 15th of 2014. Okay, so here's the Israeli population registry. No
Look to the left. It says Jewish Israeli to the left.
Jewish Israelis. There's no systematic discrimination. Okay, they're free to do whatever. The Palestinians have legal and de facto discrimination.
And
If
see,
they're barred from living in 68% of all towns in Israel by admissions committees. There's some that can vote. There's others that cannot vote. Legal discrimination and occupation, and so access to most areas but ID may be revoked if living outside of Jerusalem.
those are the East Jerusalem Palestinians.
Then there's another group that's barred from 2.3 million that are barred from living in all but 40% of West Bank due to Israeli settler and military presence. So wait a minute.
Oh
There's
yeah,
a
they're
group,
settling the West Bank.
there's a group of there's a group of Palestinians who can't even live in Palestine. Okay.
In Jerusalem. Yep.
And then 1.6 million are barred from living outside of Gaza. 5.7 million Palestinian exiles are barred from returning to live anywhere in Israel or Palestinian territory. 6 million people are in exile.
Yes. And then mind you, they've have kids and stuff, so the diaspora is probably bigger than that still. And some of them are not even able to go back home.
6 million. And they're back in 20, or is that 6 or is that 3? Nope, that is 6 million, 5.7. Then this was back in 2014.
It's way bigger now.
Is it interestingly enough, isn't that the same amount that was affected by the Holocaust? Anyway,
Oh my
uh,
god.
what? That's just a fact. I'm just saying. Trauma is sometimes not being able to forget what you forget. Ooh, that's a good one, LRGA. Ooh, we getting deep. Honest says, I broke up with my fiance, so I forgive him, but I can't forget the lies that were told to me. And so you just won't enter back into that type of now when you get to a place where I will say there's degrees of forgiveness even, right? So when I got to a place of forgiveness where really he really didn't enter into like his issues or whatever did not enter into my space anymore. Um then did I never forget? I suppose not, because there was never a space where he was going to ever enter back into my world, but he just wasn't prominent in there anymore. Yeah. Okay, so they only want, yes, they only want Jews to live there. They basically want to take all of that and reclaim that back as Israel.
And notice how the Israeli Jews, this is the worst part. This is the worst part. They have the ability to go into the West Bank and settle. If you look at that map,
Yes,
they have that ability.
but but it doesn't go backwards. It doesn't go the other way. Oof, boy. Y'all check and make sure that y'all subscribe to me, because I have a feeling I'm going to lose some subscribers. But anyway, listen. So Israel has vowed to respond. So there's that.
Are there any current impending things happening?
Let me see if what's live right now. Oh.
I know I'll just, oh my God.
Let's see what's going on live. So Biden finally came out and said that we.
Oh, and also, Kurz mentioned there are Israeli realtors that are holding real estate events to pick out land in Gaza on the beach and everything to like for sale and stuff.
What is wrong with them?
And did you know there is an oil bank that's on that part in the Mediterranean right next to Gaza that Israel probably wants it because of.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. It's wrong, and trust me, I'm not saying this has nothing to do with Jews. Jews are great people and everything, but this is political. This is the issue of weaponizing religion in politics.
Exactly.
This is what
Exactly.
happens. You do not weaponize. It's a natural gas bank too.
They're only real estate. Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's what we were just saying. Yep. Was in a concentration camp that was set up in Ukraine. Oh, wow. I didn't know there were any set up in Ukraine, Anna.
Yeah, and I also think Poland as well.
Hmm. Well, guys, I don't know if I was able to shed any extra light on anything, but I did want to go through the biblical prophecies. I'm seeing it. What do I think is going to happen next? I don't foresee this. I don't know how. I just don't know how this is going to. This will be interesting to see how they respond. If they respond by bombing Iran directly, which they may, I am praying that we stay out.
Stay out. And I'll say this about Iran. What you covered on Mohammed Reza Shah Pahlavi,
Mm-hmm.
the king, and you said how Khomeini, he was doing human rights violations to some of those many of those Shia, well, he's Shiite himself actually, but
Mm-hmm.
to many of those, especially Khomeini's whole chapter and stuff, they were doing a lot of human rights violations, and Carter was actually supporting him at first.
Correct.
Then he turned on him and supported the Ayatollah, and that's how Iran came to where it is now. And then this is where it's a little problematic. Iran now it used to be a secular Islamic country. That's what it was under the
Correct. Before the Ayatollah.
yes. And then now it's an extreme religious thing. I'm not saying all Shiites are extremists, but this is extreme what's happening in Iran right now. It is extremism. It's not
I heard it
Islam.
was getting better though. Is that not true?
That is true. It is getting better. I know that they have relaxed the enforcements of the hijab,
Yeah, yeah.
because now I do see TikTokers who go to Iran. You could probably find them. They go to Iran. They're women and they go completely and their hair completely out. Um, it's getting better after those whole demonstrations that people were doing for Masa Amini and everything. But even then, I do not like the Ayatollah and Khomeini. I don't like them at all. But this was all handed to the Iranians by Jimmy Carter.
But we created it. Like
We
I
created
don't
this system.
remember if he backed him when it was too late or something like that. I just remember that rightfully so, they were angry that we propped up and put the Shah in power and just turned a blind eye for oil and whatever other, other reasons, turned a complete blind eye to what he was doing to his people. And that was when all of this happened. Like you just even if he backed the Ayatollah, it wasn't going to matter at that point because we had already had too long of. I think Nixon propped him up, if I'm not mistaken. It was either Nixon or LBJ, but anyway, I feel like it was Nixon that propped him up, and then he and what's his name inherited this.
Carter.
Carter inherited this whole situation, and then it just blew up right before the Olympics. But it was insanity. It was complete insanity. But I'll never forget my dad saying, "Well, we shouldn't have been over there. We shouldn't have propped that man up. We shouldn't have had anything to do with it." And I'm like, "Oh, I mean," and that's the truth. And we've done that more than once. We listen, the Iran Contra scandal, right, with the drug running, the gun running down in Central America. We
Oh,
bet on the wrong horse again. Like we have a bad, horrible history. You can almost look at just about any country right now that is going through, like, that has been through over the last 20 to 30 years, maybe even longer than that now, because we're talking back in the 80s and 90s. This that ends up in a bad economic way and whatnot, that turned from like a democracy to like communism, and it is directly because we propped up the wrong person.
and also, mind you, that the whole. I saw an interview. Reza Shah Pahlavi, the second, the crown prince, well,
Hmm.
de facto crown prince. Well, he's in
Hmm.
the U.S. I think he's an exilee in the U.S. in Virginia. So he did an interview with Patrick Bet David. It's on
Hmm. Hmm.
YouTube
Hmm.
because Patrick Bet David is Iranian and
Yep.
Armenian. And then someone asked him, "Would you ever, if you ever have the ability to go back, would you become?" They asked that question because he was asked it initially on Piers Morgan's show Uncensored.
Hmm.
Would you ever go back to being prince or king now
Hmm.
if you had the opportunity?
Hmm.
And he was like, "Well, I've been outside of the country a lot. I don't know. I think the good move is to push for a republic and stuff like that." But the thing is,
If I were him, I ain't going back.
no, his family did a lot of horrible things there.
I'm not going back. That's just stupid.
His family did a lot of horrible things. I mean,
That's just stupid. Why would I go back to die? No, I'm good. I'm good.
my thing is this. Why isn't the US, we need to stop getting in foreign affairs and focus on what's happening here. We have children who are finishing school and can't read and write at their grade level. We have more domestic issues here than we do have issues abroad. We should not be getting involved in conflicts in the Middle East, South
No.
America, the Caribbean, Asia, Europe. We
Yeah.
shouldn't. We should not. We should not.
No, we have no business doing it. But hopefully, we will get to that point, and in this country, we will put a stop to it.
And my point is this. It's scary having this man in the White House. It's scary. It is scary. Hard. It's scary. He doesn't know where he is. He called the president of Egypt the president of Mexico one time.
I know.
He said he spoke to President Mitterrand, who's been dead for the past 25 years. This is scary. Could you imagine a war with this man? It's scary.
And I actually giggled when I saw they were like, "Oh, he's cutting his trip to Delaware short." First of all, I didn't know the man was gone to Delaware. Like
Right.
this, we don't even. This man don't never be in the White House. And anyway, even when he's supposed to be in the White House, he ain't in the White House. And so, what you calling him back for? I don't even believe they really called him back. I'm gonna be super honest with you. I don't believe the man. I believe the man is still in Delaware. I believe they put a whole because we've seen the whole sets that they make to make it look like he's somewhere he's supposed to be. He cannot possibly be the one running things. So I don't know who's running things. I think that's what I'm more scared about is I don't even know who's really running it because it can't be him.
It can't. It cannot. It cannot. Because the thing is, by then, this is the problematic part is we would this would mean we would have what? How many wars have we been through within these past centuries? We've been through
I don't even know.
in the 2000s Iraq. Now we're in this
Twice.
decade. We right Iraq, Afghanistan. This would be so problematic if we were. And then we have the senator of Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn, saying that we should go do retaliatory efforts and retaliatory strikes for Israel to show them our support.
Okay, wherever she at, y'all go find her and tell her to sit down. Go find her. I'm gonna need y'all to do a really quick recall from you on her. Shut her down.
And I loved how you gave Candace Owens her standing ovation that she needed. She deserved that.
Listen, she earned a lot. She
She
earned
changed
my
you because I
respect
know you
back.
did
I
not like
respected
her.
that woman a long time ago. She earned my respect back.
When she sat up there and literally said, I'm just going to be honest, working in media, we always have to say that we always have to praise Israel. If you don't, you won't have a good career. I was just like, and now Tucker Carlson interviewed a priest, a Catholic priest from the West Bank, I think, and was asking how Christians are treated. And then the priest was like, Christians are suffering a lot. They spit on us. Yes, it was a lot. I was like,
I'm gonna find that. Oh, I'm now. See, don't give me that ammunition. I'm gonna really cause some problem.
find
Sebastian,
it.
I'm gonna find it. We're gonna find it. Okay, Sebastian. It's getting late here. It's midnight for both of us.
Yes.
This has been a while. I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed this. We're gonna continue to cover this. We're gonna continue to talk about this. I will tomorrow, though. I want us to start diving deep into some of this metaphysical stuff that Terrence Howard he spoke about in his latest um, interview because it's really deep and it's really like we need to hear this. So we're going to dive deep. We're going to dive deep into
Yes.
this, but we are going to continue to cover this. Um, oh, thank you all. Um, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all staying up late tonight with me. Um, I was gonna go get my sheets at that girl's dry, but I ain't finna do it. I'm finna go take me a shot and go to bed. Hey, Babita. Okay, sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you. So hopefully we did some stuff. I'll continue. If you guys want me to continue to go through some of these other biblical prophecies and like let's kind of revisit it and then look at it again, I can continue to go through the 38, 39 prophecy, or is it 38, 39? Yeah. I can continue to go through that in Ezekiel. We can touch some stuff, and I think it's Isaiah 40. We can begin to touch some of these things because that I think is going to help us unfold what's going on over in the Middle East.
And can you also please do something for Ukraine? Because I'm going to say something this because people keep thinking that Ukraine can win.
That what, honey?
That Ukraine can win. Ukraine cannot win this war.
No, all of them have to stop. All of these wars have to stop.
Right.
This is nothing. This is A to distract and B to continue to demolish. So they
Right.
need this in order to do the economic reset, and we got to look at that from the realistic perspective of that's
I'm
what this is.
right. And there's like it was on TikTok. There was this chart with people, the CEOs of each of these military industrial complex companies, the defense contractors. They're worth billions.
Yes, they are. This is let me tell you something. People, I don't remember who said this. I heard this quote a long time ago that people that if you ever want to revive an economy, just start a war.
It's scary.
Very.
It's very
All
scary.
right, my friend. All right. We'll see you tomorrow, okay, my dear?
Yes. Have a good
All
night.
right. Thanks. You too, dear. Thank you so much. All right, guys, we are going to get ready to sign it on off. Let me find this. Where is this? Here we go. I thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight, late night. We haven't done this in a while. I really appreciate you. Really did enjoy this. And we will get together. I'm going to gather up some stuff. We'll get together tomorrow as well. All right. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. We'll talk to you soon. Namaste. Bye, guys.